Hello. Hi, Lynne. Hi.
I don't know.
I can't hear you though. Just a second, okay? Let me just see if I can put on my other headset here. There you go. How are you?
Good. I love that your headset is
Oh,
an
thank
earbud.
you. Oh, thank you.
Very yes. Well, thank you so much for agreeing
Oh,
to chat for just a bit. It's
yeah,
so
of
nice to chat
course. Of course. So,
with
so
you. And
yeah, I love your what you said. And but yeah, so apparently what happened?
right? Yeah. Um. So, all right. Where do I begin? Well, first of all, thank you so much for putting on the Zoom events. Um, do you spend most of your days now answer talking to folks like me and doing the
Yeah. Yeah, it's today, for example, I had like six before you, and about four of them basically it's like a retirement party or an end of seeking, so to speak, right? It's like that if of a funeral or something. It's it's something is lodged and somehow it gets dislodged, and all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah. If you look at some of the one-on-one videos, that seems to not 80% of them are not published, you know what I'm saying? But because it's uh it's it's irrelevant sometimes, and also it's personal sometimes too, right? So but yeah,
right,
but this is
right.
great. But yeah, so it's like this just so I used to work, but now I guess it's this has seemingly taken over um by accident.
Well, that's what it sounds like, but
Yeah.
I don't know that it's an accident. It sounds like,
Yeah.
from my perspective, it's greatly needed, and I just find it very interesting that there's. Have you found the last couple of years that more and more people are having this, like,
In the,
wait
yeah,
a second, it just seems like either, I don't know if it's because of YouTube becoming more user friendly, but I'm really fascinated by
yeah.
how many more people there are that are like, hey, I had this crazy thing happen to me. I think I'm going insane.
Yeah.
And I mean, like within the last year, there's like 100 more people
Yeah, you know
talking.
what? It's funny,
Nothing.
right? Because I think I've had more than 200. I'm not really counting, but uh, if I've been doing this for more than a year, and if at least I get one, one on one per day and everything, um, maybe about 300. And I have so many videos that I've not posted of people that have basically kind of like poof, popped. Right, it's their idea of what they are, or or the contraction or whatever that seems to happen, and and it's so exciting to do this. Like um I love this, saying just talking to what is, or and then it's just still, what I'm saying, it even when this appears as clear, you can't talk about it still, what I'm saying.
Right.
It's just
Yes.
impossible, right? And so I like
Right.
hearing parent stories about it. But go ahead, please go ahead, tell me about the story.
Oh gosh, I don't know. Well, it just seems like all of our stories are so very similar. You
Yeah.
know, listening to listening to all of your videos, I've heard various things like a lot of the people, including you, talk about having panic attacks, anxiety.
Yes. Yes.
There's so like the seeking has been forever. Um, yoga teaching, all of these
Yeah, did
different
you do that too?
avenues that we go down trying to find this thing that actually isn't a thing at all. It's none of those
Yeah.
things, all of those things together. But it's just, yeah. So all of our similar, I'm sure my story parallels very
Yeah,
closely
yeah, yeah.
all the other.
The seeking.
Um,
I had such a crippling panic attack that I hid so well that no one knew about it. That's how,
really,
yeah. Yeah, like I had
Wow.
anxiety and no one really knew about it, right? I didn't really talk about it, but I remember just, lying in bed, not being able to get up. I was paralyzed with it. And yeah,
Wow.
so the suffering
Wow.
was immense, but I also hid it very well because I was in the guise of a spiritual teacher, or something that is whatever, right? So it's just, it's almost like I've never really had honesty before until everything collapsed.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. This is the most real life experience. And I'm 55, and I feel like, oh my gosh, this last, like, I've been duped for the last 50 years into, like, I, you know, reading all these books and all these spiritual teachings, and it's just so funny that all of the teachings, everything we read points to this,
Yes,
but
but
we
it can't be
miss it.
pointed out at the same
Exactly,
time.
but that's right. But we totally miss it because it's so close, you
It
know.
is. It's
And
overlooked because it is this already.
yeah,
You're like, where,
exactly.
where? It's this. You're like, where? And and and
Right.
and 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 rather than seeing the simplicity of it, there's a complexity that everybody wants to do, right? Like what, like it's so simple. Like when it's often like, what do I have to practice? I'm like, well, that's okay too, but it's already this. So what's the point?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was, you know, there's only one other person that I have attempted to talk to about this, and they just were like, "Oh, Lynn, maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're, like." I'm like, no, no, I'm not depressed. I'm as well centered as I could possibly be.
Yeah.
Um, but when I tried to talk about it or explain it, or kind of like what I've experienced, like the one person that I thought, oh, they'll be open to this, listening to
Yeah.
this, they
No.
they really, because and they've been a seeker forever, just like myself. But I'm like, no, I really think that, I really think. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah. Words.
Thank you. Because it's difficult to talk sometimes because it gets cryptic. Because
It,
I feel like I'm not being honest with the person, but yet when I try to
it's all an
talk.
attempt just for honesty. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's whatever. Yeah. But go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, the person I was saying, like, something let go, something left, something's not here anymore, and like you said once, it's a very raw experience, and or my experience now is very raw. It's very here.
It's
And
naked. It's
it's very,
naked.
yeah,
There's no
exactly.
dressing up it. It can't be dressed up
Right.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And trying to explain that to someone, they were like, well, if you had had a spiritual awakening, you would be like Paramahansa Yogananda or, Eckhart Tolle. I was like, that's where I think we get mixed up, is that we're expecting it to be like I'm going to see lights and I don't know, see God or whatever.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to just breathing, it's like,
Yeah.
wait, yeah. So people, like, so the one person that I tried to talk to about it was like, I'm not convinced that anything is special has happened. Or like, I don't know what you're talking about. I think you're depressed. And they were trying it. So anyway, when I started seeing your videos, and then the fact that I could actually talk to you one on one, I was so excited.
Yay.
Now I'm blabbering, but I've been holding it in. Um,
Yeah. It's
yeah.
so great.
So
It's This is great just to be. It's almost like we can hang out now. You can let down your guard, right? Because it's not spiritual. It's not even non-duality. It's not even non-duality. No,
It's really not. It's
it's
really
real.
not. And,
Yeah.
and even saying non-duality, you think, oh, there should be two, or there should be one, or there should
Yeah.
be. It's this. It should be. It should be. It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Or and it's funny, right? Because everything that is in seeming operation is just a play of opposites. It's just a play of light, right? So, for example, I was in the consciousness awareness, like Ramana, all that kind of stuff, and then there was just the opposite, seemingly, which was kind of like nothing, and but it's all positions, and it's perfect as it is, right? I resonate more with the radicalness of that. There's nothing to do and everything because I did all the doing, but even nothing to do is just another narrative.
mm-hmm. Right, right,
Yeah.
yeah. I I was trying to say, well, we're not human doings, we're human beings. But like the video that you were saying, I'm being, or I'm meing,
Yeah.
and even that, like, you can't say, oh, I'm just gonna be,
Yeah.
because then
Because who's going to be?
right, exactly, like there's nobody to be anything. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like as soon as you step off the platform into the language, and as soon as you step into language,
Yeah.
you're out of it. So I resonate now more with like Zen teachings. Now Zen, I'm like, oh, now I get what they're saying. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
complete sense.
It's
Um,
like getting slapped over and over again, and but there's no one being slapped.
right, right, yeah, yeah, yeah. And do you find that it's oh, so okay, there seemed to have been a time where, you know, I definitely was like, holy crap, what just happened to me? Like there was this huge aha moment,
Yeah.
and
There's this big wow, right? Like,
everything,
yeah.
yeah, this huge
Yeah.
wow. And
Yeah.
so I'd like to know, um, because I read so much and I hear so much about pre the before,
Yeah.
that holy crap, this is all just a thought and I've been
Yeah.
thinking. So how has it been for you now? I mean, do you find that, because there's certainly a time period where
Oh, I can
in
hear
my
you there. So your volume went down.
oh, there was a time where um, I I definitely, and I've heard other people say this to you before, that there was a time where I'm like, I'm in it, I'm not in it, and
Ye-
that going back and forth, like,
Well, you know what? Because I've done that for the past 10 years. So with this, oh, not a final, because there's no such thing as a final, but when it was just kind of like when everything was just this, I was just DJing. It was a complete collapse. I could not even speak. I was just so kind of like, and then that
okay,
similarly to the same thing that happened to you, I called my best friend and just kind of like talked for 2 hours. I'm like, there's no one here. There's nothing to do. I can't even put it into languaging really, right? And my friend admittedly told me that I thought you were on mushrooms or something when you called me.
that's so funny, because when I first realized this, I had texted someone and
Yeah,
they said, Lynn, I think you're drunk. You need to go to bed. Like, I
yeah,
think you got
yeah,
that. I'm like, okay, I'm
yeah,
getting here because I'm losing my shit.
yeah.
I'm
But then
like,
after that, there was no more, no more. There was always clarity. The clarity cannot denied anymore. But I didn't know how to speak about it because there's
okay,
there's a whole bunch of other people that talk about this and everything. So I was kind of like, is that what's it? And um so accidentally I started speaking about this because one of the speaker that I was hosting, because I just I didn't know who to talk about this, right? There was just this kind of like you, it's kind of like, I want to talk to you about this and everything. But it's madness as well. Anyone that will just accidentally can like play this YouTube or any of my videos for that matter, they're like, he is mad. He's mad. He's this is just mad because it's like I think I was talking to one character and basically saying that it's like that old man with that big sign. It's the end of the world. But my sign is there's nothing needed. This is it. That kind of thing, right? And so I'm that old man, so on YouTube going, this is it. And once in a while, you know what? It clicks to some characters. They're like, can I talk to you about what kind of like you, kind of like saying that, what the hell? Right. So, and I guess with the appearance of YouTube in the storyline anyway, it seems like there is more and more and more and more and more. But really, if you look at it, there's only one illusion and it's not even here anymore. And that's what you were. So everything that you see now is just it. Although there's no use seeing any of it, if you know what I'm talking about, right? But in the narrative, in the story, there's going to be some little videos that you're like, I want to talk. And that's the same thing. So I basically can like, I just wanted to be a fanboy for all of this because there was clarity, but I didn't even know how to talk about it because words seems to muddy it. If you know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Uh, There's there's no description. I mean, I can sit here and say just breathe and there's nothing, but there's certain there. I mean, like I had meditated. I've done the Vipassana 10-day retreats and all that kind of stuff.
Likewise.
And oh, that's so funny. Yeah, yeah. I've got two bookshelves in there of different kinds of religions, different spiritual teachings. I did the Kriya Yoga with Paramahansa Yogananda.
I did that too.
Like
Yeah.
insane. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so
I
funny.
did the sutras. Did you do the
Oh, okay.
sutras? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Did you do Kundalini?
no, I haven't done
Okay.
anything
Yeah.
Kundalini. Not, I mean, other than
Yeah.
listening to YouTube and reading all about it,
Yeah.
but not really done anything. But even with all of that stuff,
Yeah.
nothing. And I was, I guess, the most shocking thing was here I've been praying, here I've been, we're all praying to God, we're all following intentions.
Yeah.
And I think that realization that, oh, that's all, that doesn't exist. That's all just a thought. That's just somebody,
Yeah.
there's nothing magical about that.
Yeah.
That's where it really like cut my knees. Like I was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, there's no
Yeah.
God, there's no religion.
Yeah.
That was my big wow. Like
That's what for me was quite devastating, right? Because there was already clarity, but it was devastating because that was my anchor. That was my just a second. My dog is trying to get out. Just a second. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it was almost like grieving God.
Yes,
It was
exactly.
it
And
was sad. It was sad, right? There was this profound sadness with no 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 position. So even
right.
that, it's even the uncertainty and it's beautiful, right? So you can also say that it's all God, there's no God. It's the same statement.
So funny. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's quite
So
fascinating. It's quite fascinating because all of my ideas, all of my held onto beliefs just went down the drain completely. And I could not catch it. I'm like, oh shit. Everything that would come up, like, oh shoot. Yeah.
right, right. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, and so I guess one of my questions to you is, did you did you find that there was a period of um, actually, I'll describe my experience right now.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
So, oh my God, okay, no God, no religion, my relationships
Yeah,
with my mom, dad,
yeah,
everything I believe, like,
yeah. It all
well,
went. Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my God, even my relationship with my son is not
Oh,
real. Like, oh
yeah,
my God,
yeah,
that's just totally I mean,
yeah,
it like finished me. And I have been like, I withdrew from everyone. Like, I
yeah,
got like what you said, I couldn't speak. It's like I can't listen to me.
yeah.
I sound like just a bunch of bumbling words. But there was a point where I kind of withdrew from all my relationships. I was like, oh my God, this is reality, you know.
Yeah,
And I found myself, I couldn't really talk to people. I couldn't really can't, and I'm still kind of having that withdraw from society. It's hard for me to like go to a girls' night out and everyone's talking about their hair, even if they don't talk
yeah.
about
It,
boyfriends, right? And I'm
yeah,
like, you know what? This is nice, but
yeah.
it's hard for me to
You
stay
can't fake it
connected.
anymore. That's what it is.
Yes,
You can't fake it
yeah.
anymore. There's just this authenticity here that can't fake, even going to church, like, I would burst into laughter and everything. And um, something, anything. I can't even sit in meditation anymore, bursting into laughter or going to, I love yoga. I love the practice and everything. But the moment that the teacher is, waxing some Eastern philosophy wisdom there, I'm like, I gotta go.
Right, right. Yeah, you know,
And it makes me laugh because
I'm like,
I was that before. You know what I'm saying?
oh, absolutely. I was like, no, you got, my hand, all
Yeah,
the different,
yeah. The Kriya, yeah, like
yeah, exactly, all the different hand
oh,
gestures. Oh,
I
I'm like,
remember when I was a kid, I used to do this, like a
oh,
crab.
right,
And I'm like, is that Kriya too? Then I started laughing, right? Because
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just that it's this dichotomy of nothing has meaning, everything has meaning. It's
yeah,
I don't know if
that dichotomy of there's no purpose, but everything seems to have a purpose, but but both statements are just statements in a dead language.
Mhm.
Language is dead. Thought is dead.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it's almost like it's a fast track to at the last breath that you have in your physical thing, and you saw the end, and the end is just peace. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter if you succeeded or not. It doesn't matter if you're a bad person or whatever. Or a good person, if you're a saint or a sinner. All of that duality collapses into just like, so now what?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. And
and and
there was
and and all of my relationships somehow, you know what I'm saying? Because I had that I exiled myself. That's how horrible it was. I had to exile myself where no one knew me. Of course, I ruined the relationships there too because I was just this pretentious, whatever, saying just this really broken character, right? That was just trying to find peace. And luckily I was in a place where there was no one. And so I'd lost tons of friends, that I don't speak to anymore, mostly spiritual friends. And I realized that a lot of my friendship was built on a belief system that we shared that I don't adhere to anymore. Um, and somehow the rebels and the seeming characters that were just having fun, I can relate to them more. The more anarchists, like a bit more of, and so that was my old friends. Basically it was like, what has happened? He's weird now. He's like, he can't even sit with us to have a beer and everything. So seemingly after that exile, I didn't even know what to do because there was just no more drive. I don't know if you've had that too at that time anyway. There's no drive. It is what it is, no matter what it is. I was happy just sitting on a couch and staring at the ceiling for hours.
That is so funny because my next question to you was going to be, have you found yourself just staring at a pillow for like 2 hours? Like, this pillow is
I still do
fascinating.
it.
I, oh, I'll find myself just staring at a piece of paper. I'm like, oh my God, this is the most amazing
Yeah.
piece of paper I've ever seen. Like, for some reason, it jumps. Things are more alive now. Like,
Yeah.
unanimated things, they seem to have a life now that I never noticed before. And I
Yeah.
get captivated just with the smallest detail. Like, I'll be staring,
Yeah.
looking at the grass, and I'm like, look at those ants and all those little, oh my gosh, there's so much life just in this
Yeah.
2 inches
Yeah.
of my yard.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's
In
fascinating.
one of my talks, I was just like, I would stop and stare at the glass. I'm like, oh, they have dewdrops on each one of them. And I'll be like looking at each the dewdrop, 45 minutes later, my dog is running around. Let's go, dad. I'm like, oh, it's like, so that's
Yeah.
that's why I have reminders now, and it's funny when I do my meetings, I have a breakout room and I'm like, I'll be back. I'm just going to walk my dog 2 hours later, and I'm like, oh, sorry, it's it's the most random, nothing important at all, that like I would be playing, one time I was playing a keyboard and I was just playing the same chord over and over again in the variations of it, and that lasted for hours. So
Oh, absolutely. I can totally see that. I can paint on the same canvas and not have any, just change the colors on the
yeah,
canvas, just to mix the paints, just to see what they're doing. And and it's so freeing.
it
You know,
is. It is.
it's a little frustrating because I'm like, okay, I've sat here for 3 hours now.
The
There is,
structure is gone, isn't it? Your structured
yeah,
life is gone.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it was very unsettling. Um, very unsettling to not have that, like you said, that drive, like, people have got to go to the store, they've got to do things, they got to get somewhere, they got to be somewhere, they got to talk to someone, and I'm perfectly content. And
Yes.
it's starting to worry me a little bit, like, okay, I'm perfectly content sitting here by myself
Yeah.
days. I'm like, I don't know if this is healthy anymore. Like, there's a point where I thought, okay, I'm going to become a recluse with 12 cats. You know, I'm a little worried. Well, you know what I mean. I'm not really worried, but there's a part of me that's like, should I be getting up and doing something? Because
Yeah.
everyone else is running around and I've got no place to be
Yeah,
ever.
it it's I always talk about this. You might have heard this, that because I meditated so much that I missed that golden hour in the morning, walking, with the sun is rising and everything, and the grass, right? The grass, this, especially when there is a, when the park is, freshly mowed, the sense, everything is so fragrant, right? And I'm allergic to it. Here I am, kind of like, but I'm still loving it.
Oh, all right. So are you in the Toronto area?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Love
Yeah.
Toronto, by the way.
Whereabouts are you?
I'm just south of Chicago.
Okay.
I'm in Springfield, Illinois. So
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Nice.
like
Beautiful.
visited Toronto on several occasions. I have clients in Canada, so I
Nice.
would go up there periodically. Yeah, and I absolutely loved it. But yes, so you have the same flora and fauna that I do, and
Yeah.
it's all so it seems different to me. It seems
I didn't even know that I was an outdoors person. I didn't even know. I know, I was always very secluded into my studies and my books and meditating and studying whatever, right? I had no idea, right? That, people would not really kind of like invite me to go camping or whatever because I'm not really into it. But now it's like, it's like, it's, yeah, it's phenomenal, isn't it? And this has been
yeah.
like 6 years now of whatever this
Oh,
is. Yeah.
oh, okay. I
Yeah.
was wondering. Um, so
But I've had
you
it before
continued.
too. I've But more than 10 years. I always keep on screwing my timeline because I don't really have a memory to that's another thing. Do you see now that there's the memory is really irrelevant?
Yes, and I'm starting to forget
Yeah.
a lot of things,
Yeah.
which makes me a little like uneasy because
Yeah.
people are saying, "Don't you remember when we went on that trip?" And I'm
Do you
like,
have do you have an
"No,
early onset of dementia or something? I'm like,
I've been wondering. I just don't remember because it's not
I did get checked. I did get checked that I don't have it. It's kind of, funny, right? Because I'm like, well, what the that's also what is, right? So
right, right. It could be right. So, um, so did you find that you kind of recreated your life?
it's all a narrative. Yeah, it's all a narrative, right? So it's almost like the honest thing that could be said is like it's almost like making up something that does not really have any reality. Um and it's kind of like recalling a movie that you watched, but you know that there's no movie that you watched. That kind of thing. It just
Huh?
comes out automatically, right?
Right.
And it's so confusing sometimes because um it I don't remember a lot of things. Like I'll say something like a week before and somebody has to remind me and I'm like, and I still don't remember. It's so that's why I thought it was like an early on. Well, someone told me maybe you have an early onset of like Alzheimer's or dementia or something. I'm like, it doesn't really run in my family, but might as well. I'm in Canada, so we get checked for free. So might as well.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Oh man, I want Canada to adopt me. I'm ready to seek asylum in Canada or
Yeah.
Australia. Yeah,
Yeah.
those are my two.
um, but yeah, it's just freedom appearing as whatever. I don't have to. As I was telling someone earlier, there's no more performance. It's almost I got stripped out of my specialness, and I don't have to pretend that I'm special or not special. It's a stripping away of that. It's like it's really humbling, when you lose everything. Um, you especially.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah, yeah. Because the whole sense of Lynn is very much um, like,
But there was not a Lynn. That's the silly thing, right? Like if you
yeah,
like there was the Emerson, but we have to talk in language somehow, right? Otherwise, it's
exactly. That's right, and that is what I find is a little challenging. Is that to speak honestly, which would mean that I speak in circles. And it's
yeah,
really hard to get anywhere
yeah,
when you have to
yeah,
speak in circles.
yeah.
Um,
It's the drama. The drama is over. The drama, the daytime soap has finished, and it rerun, but you don't because you've seen it already, so you're not really that engaged anymore. It might appear again, but it's just a rerun. That's what it is. It's like a rerun, right? But
mhm.
but the season is already finished.
Right, right.
Yeah,
It is. It does feel like this is some kind of recording that's being played. And so I'm just in the recording, and like if something draws my attention, oh okay, then the recording wants me to it that's how I'm kind of experiencing life at this point. That
yeah. It's everything has already happened, but it's not also happening at the same time, and it's hard to fathom that because it cannot be thought about. And yeah, it's there's no one behind these eyes. It's empty
Right.
there.
Yeah, exactly. And it is there is some I listen to Muji and Papaji and
Yeah, yeah,
very and so now when they say like Muji's when he says I'm just two eyeballs, floating in space, I'm like,
yeah,
oh yes, okay, now it's resin, those words now have
yeah.
meaning. Where before I was like, he's on crack, but I'll just keep meditating.
But isn't it funny though when it's already that, meaning that and I guess it's okay to again, for some odd reason as this there's no one here progressing, there's no one deepening, but it's almost like the clarity just gets clearer and clearer that even other teachers, you know what I'm saying? It's okay what they say. It doesn't matter what anyone says. It doesn't matter. It's okay if you want to practice. But it's nothing is necessary at the same time. So it's not it's the judge person here, the judgment has collapsed as well. And
Yeah,
it's not, and it's just what is. It's just what is. Yeah. It's it's so brilliant though, right? It's like um I've compared this. I don't know if you've seen the Truman Show.
oh yeah, absolutely.
It's
It's
the
very
reverse,
much
it's the reverse Truman Show, meaning that there's only one and everything is an illusion and you're watching everyone. And it's so freaky, right? Because at first, because when there was this sense of self, so to speak, I thought that I had to wake up, that everybody's already awake and everybody would welcome me. But when it's reversed, it's like um there's no one to awaken.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's spaciousness.
Yeah.
It's just this spaciousness that we're all kind of moving around, you know,
Yeah.
and
And not even that, if you really look at it.
right. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. I mean, there's just this.
This
Uh, so
there
I
was a
was
period. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I can't remember what I was gonna
There,
say.
there was a period.
Oh, there was a period that I was just kept on saying this, and it annoyed a lot of people. What's this? I'm like, no one knows what this is, but that's what this is.
But that's what this is.
Yeah,
But nobody knows.
but nobody knows. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so I am curious, are you how have you been helping people that like have you had clients stay with you for a long time?
People usually do just one-on-ones online, right? So, um, and it's so silly, right? Because from the get-go, what I tell them is just pure um, what do you call it? Transparency. There's nothing that I can do for you because it's already done. There's nothing that I can give you because there's no one to give it to, right? So usually, what, people get it one, two tries and everything. Um, but it's been wildly, crazily um although it's not happening to anyone, but it's just it's just popping everywhere. It's just so nuts, right? Because I know I'm not doing anything, but somehow there's just this, I don't know what to call it, right? And it's and because I was just giving it away all away for free. And I looked at
Oh,
and I was like, and I looked at my statements. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm in the red really, really big time now, right? So I quit, not really quit, but I got a job. Um, but the job, I didn't have a memory. The job, for some odd reason, even the first couple of months, is a high paying job. I was able to pay my debts, and then then I started, somehow this took over again.
oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I was ready to kind of like say, you know what, it's working at a corporate firm is also it. There's nothing that's it, right? There's no one choosing anyway. um and 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 again, I was not attached to this. I do enjoy it, I do enjoy it. The character enjoys it very, very much so. And somehow, saying it's just become a full-time gig, right? And and it's just been lovely, right? It's just been, I have to check the time because I keep
Yes, I know. I keep doing the same thing. I don't want to keep you.
no, because I have another one after, and then another one at 6 o'clock. It's just wild. It's wild. It's just um, and then I'm getting invited to speak at different places. Um, and it's but the funny thing is I'm not serious about it anymore. There's no more, again, being a spiritual teacher was almost like performative. Um, you
Oh, well,
had to kind
yeah,
of
because
like,
you have to be on point and you have to be all
yeah,
cool, and it is a performance. Absolutely.
yeah. And this, you know what? I speak like a child sometimes. Sometimes I like poetry. Sometimes it's mad. Sometimes, what I'm saying? Whatever comes out, right? And it's just what it is. And it's not it's not anything at all, right? It's just so obvious that there's no one doing any of this. And that's what's obvious.
Mhm.
And everything is just flowing along, but it's not even there. Yeah, when I did an interview with someone that's popular, I can't remember the name of it, but I said, oh, no, I'm not going to be speaking about this, I'm just happy, you know so I actually said never, you know what I'm saying, but somehow, it
There you are. Yeah.
because
Well,
I could be ambitious and make money in other ways and everything, because this doesn't really, but there's a love for it, you know it's beautiful.
that shows. That
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah.
And, and I have to say that there's the character, Lynne, like you have
Yeah.
mentioned before, the character wants everyone to know about this. I mean, like, oh my God, can you imagine a world where all of us are nothing? Holy, I mean, like it would just, and there. Um, so I can appreciate your wanting to do this, but
Yeah.
it is time, and there is this character definitely, um, especially being, I don't know, here in this in Illinois, in the States,
Yeah.
things are very
Tense.
tense. Yes, very
Very
good word.
tense.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm like, man, this this recognition was just it's just so freeing, and so like,
It is.
oh,
It's kind of
and
funny,
it's
right? So some of the American characters that messages me back and forth are coming from two opposing sides, right? And I see it as both narrative, and they're like, "So are you this?" I'm like, "No, no, it's just what is, right? It's just innocence. It's like someone is on their corner of a playground, and the other one is on the playground, and they're like, he's a bully, and the other one goes, he's whatever, you know what I'm saying? So but it's just child's play, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
fascinating. It's fascinating, the tension, because all of a sudden they're getting ready with their what do you call that, um
slingshot
yes.
weapons.
And someone draws a line, this is my side, you can't come here.
Yeah, and it's so obvious now that there's no side, there's
There's
no
no
line, there's no
sides,
the
nothing,
person. It's just
nothing.
like a song. And um, uh, I was I'm trying to think. I was listening to someone talk, and it's like we are playing out a song. Like, our movements are
Yeah.
are simply the thing that is happening, like a song, like a breeze, like a scent.
It is.
You know?
It's I like that. I like that it's like a song that does not end, and there's a full symphony orchestra, and it's
Mhm.
all playing the same song, but the song is infinite, right? And it's
Right.
it's it's
And we're
beautiful.
all just different songs, different notes,
Yeah.
all playing together.
One
Yeah.
is a trombone, one is a saxophone, and
Right.
this one
Right.
is a flute, that one is but
Yeah. And
all
there's no harmony.
together. But what's silly though, there's no one behind the sound too. It's just a flute. It's well, and then again, we're talking too much about it, But isn't it fascinating to just to talk about nothing, like and just have
Oh,
that, just kind of like having that relaxing, and like what? It's so cool because when you seemingly talk to other characters, um, it's almost like that it's a script, that's a scripted reality, right? But no one knows that they're acting, they're actors.
right. Yeah. I think that I'm coming up with the words coming out of my mouth, but really, it,
No, no.
it's just, it just, it's kind of interesting. And now I'm playing with it. Now I'm like, oh, let's see what happens, because I still work a full-time job. And
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we
there's
can have this conversation
challenges.
regularly if you like, saying just to kind of like
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
and I love this because I talk to a lot of people that have done their seeking, and they message me and they're like, oh, you know what, let's talk about that, and it's just this kind of conversation, right? Because imagine talking to your family about this, like, well, there was a person, but the person's no longer here. They'll commit you right away. You know what I'm saying?
oh,
And
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so before I let you go, I'm
No
almost
worries.
kidding. Um, I am curious. So you have been invited to speak in person. Do you ever do you have any events coming up where you're
Yeah,
speaking in
yeah,
person?
I do. Yeah, yeah. I'm invited. They're usually kind of like a small group, you know what I'm saying? Like about 20 people or 10 people and everything.
Uh-huh.
I speak to people that are one of my videos went a little bit viral and it reached a lot of people. So I have a bigger audience now, so to speak. But it's really, really small. It's really, really small, you know what I'm saying? But I've been really busy. I've been invited to talk at different, I'm not going to mention the names, but different sanghas.
Really? Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
they don't know what they're
Yeah.
getting. It's they like the openness of this, but some of them are triggered when I said it's not really necessary. Or there was a sangha that wanted to invite me, but the whole model that they have is meditation, so they don't know where to fit me. Oh,
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
somehow, you know what? There's, when some character resonates with this, it's kind of like they're blown away by it. They're like, "What the hell?" Or when I do a one-on-one with someone, they're like, "What the hell happened?" So they tell their sangha, and then they try to invite me. Some of them go through, most of them don't, right? And usually that person gets alienated, um, but they're content. Isn't it funny that now that you don't have a need for so many friends, you're content now?
Yes, exactly. Because
Yeah.
before I was struggling to put on airs, because in front of this person, Lynne had to be this way. In front of this
Yes.
person, Lynne had to be this way. Like I was a different character, for all these different
You're role
relationships.
playing Lynn. Now that you see that
Yes.
it's a character, right? It's just role playing Lynn. And
Yep.
and that's what I did. There was an Emerson that was a spiritual teacher. There was an Emerson that was a party animal. There was an Emerson that was a good brother. There was an Emerson that was a nasty character.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But none of them
They're
are
all
true.
right. They're all still here. There's no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah.
Uh, the, the nasty character comes out
But they're just a
every now.
script, right? The script that no one has written. It's just like, where is this coming from? That kind of thing, right? So,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
one thing that I can say that there's just again, it feels so great just to be completely honest. So when I
Hmm.
say that there's really no one here, it feels so relieving. Saying it's not an idea or whatever, but a better not a better way to say it. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? So there's no more
Hmm.
hiding behind a pretense um or or creating an identity of a spiritual teacher or a guru or whatever, right? There's just it just loves what it does. It is not even doing it.
Yeah, yeah. Even if
Yeah.
it's messing up or not, doing it
It
perfectly,
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
Yeah, it doesn't
It just,
matter.
yeah.
I'm the first one to laugh at the jokes about me now. I used to get
Oh, like what
so
kind?
I
Like
used to
what
get
kind of?
oh my brother's like, you're so absent-minded. And I'm like, yes. You know, yeah. My sister will be like, how do you live? Because they're beginning to see this now, right? But they don't know what it is, right? They don't know what it is. They're like, and then one of my friends said, did all of your ambition go away? And I'm like, yes.
and and they were really terrified by that. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, you've
Yeah.
lost all your ambition. What?
Yeah. And it's
Yes.
just really the humility, and there's no one special here anymore. And also at the same token, there's also going to be other characters that are going to put you down, and and um I delete them now because my nephews and nieces watch my video, not to watch my video, but to read the comments, saying. And it's
Uh-huh.
and it's and some of them are really nasty, comments and everything. I don't get affected by it. There might be it's kind of like a mosquito bite. I'm like, oh, ouch, ouch, you know, but it passes, what I'm saying? And I don't get caught up in anything anymore. Or I don't remember it even.
If somebody offended me, just wait a month. I won't remember.
Not
It's
even a
okay.
month. The next day, it's like, oh, but I have to delete some comments, and every day I'm like, oh, wow. So it doesn't matter because it's not even a belief or a not belief, but there's really no one out there. That's also what is. And deleting it is also what is.
Mhm.
And it
That's
doesn't matter. It's all what is that cannot be talked about. Yet I talked about it for the past 6 hours now or more.
I literally, wow. Well, I just can't thank you
We'll chat
for,
again soon. I'm gonna
yes,
pause the recording.